this gentleman, Frankie Valli, and Bob Gaudio and Tommy DeVito and Bob Crew stood on this stage with their counterparts in the cast. It was our opening night, and they took the final bow. It's right and fair that they took the final bow because it's their story, it's their lives. So the last bow belonged to them, and it still does. Of course, here we stand exactly 586 weeks later. But who's counting?
Excuse me, can you bend down
and
a
now,
little bit?
in addition to Bob and Frankie and Tommy and Nick, the show belongs to a battery of people who've kept this thing going and going, kind of like that bunny on TV with the battery. The Witness Protection Program prevents them from actually identifying themselves. So they're going under assumed names. I will say some of them, beginning with Des McAnuff, our fearless leader. Who's had the wisdom to hold on to his Canadian passport. Who knew? It's $5 for every laugh. The rest of our merry group up here, but please don't applaud after each name because they're really not used to it, and they'll probably ask for more money. Richard Hester, Ron Melrose, Andy Wilder, Sergio Trujillo, Danny Austin, Wes Tyler, Kelly Devine, Clara Ziglarova, Howell Binkley, Jess Goldstein, Steve Kennedy, Steve Orich, Andrew Keister, Julie Randolph, Sandy Carlson, and Tim Solka, company managers from day one. Tara Rubin and Mary Sugarman, the press team at Bono Bryan Brown, the marketing team at Serena Coyne, Jordan Roth, Paul Libben, Jack Rattel, and everyone at Drew Jamson, Michelle Bosch, Molly McLegal, Pam Remler, the stage managers, the amazing backstage crew, the house staff, the always hip and amazingly mobile Jersey Boys band, so many of whom have been here from the very, very beginning. From La Jolla. And the legendary company of actors, of course, all of them stars, but significantly, Peter, Mark, and Sarah, who've been here for every one of these 586 weeks. Maybe 6 weeks, give or take the odd vacation. And when I say odd, well, never mind. Of course, our producers, Michael David, Ed Strong, Lauren Mitchell, Sally Morse, Jeff Carvin, and everyone at Dogwood Theatrical, who took a small slot filler musical in La Jolla and turned it into something of a phenomenon. In fact, all the people in this building for the past 11 and a half years have treated us like family, because as the man says, family is everything. That extends to all of you folks too. There are so many of you out there who have been fans of the seasons for decades and decades and decades, and you have come to see Jersey Boys a heck of a lot, here on Broadway, across the country, and around the world. So you're a part of the family too, and we thank you for being here today with us. They say that nothing is forever in the theater, but a little piece of all of us here today will live forever up there in the flies overhead, part of every show that's played here and every show that will. But since the most important word in the theater business is yes, the first and last name I'd like to mention is the man who, when I said to him, "Hey, want to try to write a Broadway musical with me?" said yes. An Oscar-winning writer, a gold record banjo star, a wonderful husband and father, the person we'd all want in our lifeboats. And that's more adjectives and metaphors in one sentence than you ever get at the Golden Globes. My partner, my teacher, my friend, Marshall Brickman.
Thank you, Rick. I'm going to read because, I don't know, I'm older than I was 15 years ago. Since Rick has already acknowledged and thanked everybody on behalf of both of us, I thought I would take my time, get a little more personal, and share an experience with everyone here to show what it was like to work on Jersey Boys as an author. After we hit, Rick and I were predictably getting a lot of offers to write musicals about Frankie Avalon, Elvis Presley, Paul Anka, Otis Redding, the Roddells, the Four Lads, the Drifters, the Coasters, the Bladders, the Clovers, the Rovers, the Moonglows, the Imperials, and one about Pinchas Zuckerman in the Israeli Orchestra, because my fax number is 1 digit away from the Israeli consulate, probably in this style. But bear with me. This can all be over soon. The best offer was in the form of a plain brown envelope that came to me with the return address of one Vincent DeModico, number 2345312, Box 1000, Otisville, New York. And those of you who may have worked at the DA's office will recognize that address as the Federal Correctional Facility up in Albany. I'm going to let you see Frankie respond to this, or at least react to it. So inside the envelope is a flattering note about our work and a synopsis of a musical entitled Anybody Seen Frankie? Plus the transcript of Mr. DeModico's indictment and conviction for illegal trafficking in bearer bonds, felony fraud, use of force, and intimidation with a deadly weapon. And I thought, well, this is perhaps a first in the theater, an indictment that comes before the project. Usually the indictment comes after, when somebody looks at the producer's books. So already I'm intrigued. I know that in the old days the seasons were a little bit connected, so I go to Frankie and I ask him if he knows a guy named Vincent DeModico. And he says, he turns white, he says, Juicy DeModico contacted you. How'd he find you? I say, I don't know, Frankie, I thought you would know. And Frankie says, what does he want? I said, to collaborate with me. And Frankie says, no. What he will do is he will take you into the woods and shoot you 5 times in the eye. And God bless him, Frankie said, look, I'll take care of this, but you walk away, this guy has a long reach, you know, and his lyrics stink. It was great. There it was, a garden variety, non-confrontational, Upper West Side New Yorker who's never even contested a parking ticket, and suddenly I'm in The Godfather. With Valiant, Sinatra, and Jillian, Sam Giancana, and Judith Exeter, and I'm thinking I better go get Robert Duvall's phone number in case it gets ugly. Anyway, it turns out Juicy got my address from Tommy, who used to run numbers with him in Jersey in the old days. Thanks, Tommy, for so many things.
You wouldn't have a story if it wasn't for him.
Despite everything, there was something touching about Juicy. I mean, he included the Xerox of his indictment along with his pitch. I mean, when do you see a resume like that in the theater? Made my heart go out to him. So I did him a favor. I turned him down because, like many of us, he had a dream of having a show on Broadway. But if we had collaborated, what really would have happened is we'd find ourselves out of town for 6 months with a musical with second act problems, and then he'd wish he was back at Sing Sing, and then he'd shoot me in the eye. One last thing, speaking of collaboration, we do get, Rick and I, questions a lot of the time, which is how did it work? How do you write a show? Did you both stay in the same room? Did you argue? Did one guy type and the other guy, you know, talk and pace?
You know, as long as
but
you're
the thing is that we can explain this now.
What's interesting is there was this, one of the great writers, one of the great theater writers, Arthur Morris, said that, it's sort of negotiation by tantrum. Do you know what I understand? Negotiation by tantrum. And so, you know, so you walk around, think what you're going to do, and they ask you who you're going to be like, and you think, not Abbott and Costello, not Martin and Lewis, more like Edna Ferber and George S. Kaufman. Because the most important thing about collaborating is listening to each other.
lot of gangs in my life. But this is the best gang I've ever hung out with. I'd like to thank all you people who, over the years, have supported Jersey Boys. This, for me, was growing up as a kid and becoming successful was so important to me. But this was really the icing on the cake for me. This really did it. And I'd like to thank each and every one of you out there, and all of you who may not be here tonight, who have supported the show over the years. The people involved in this show have been absolutely incredible. And I mean that from my heart. From directing, to producing, to choreography, to writing, to acting and singing, I've never seen a better bunch of people. And once again, I'd like us all to give a real big round of applause for this entire cast. So I tell you that I am proud to be a Jersey boy, and I'm proud to have come from New Jersey. It's been... And once again, I'd like to thank you, and I love you all. Good night.